This is Mahesh Thakkar from Finance Industry Development Council. I welcome you all to this peculiar webinar organized by B2B Infomedia, and I thank the organizers B2B Infomedia and my friends Gautam, Ashish, Anupam and all others at B2B. We have been friends doing this physical and virtual seminars all over India since last more than 2 years, and in fact had more than 10 versions of this B2B Mind India seminars. And today, because of the peculiarity of the situation, we have to do online webinar. Perhaps more people will benefit, participants will benefit out of this webinar because they can look at it from all over India, but personal interaction and dialogues with you all will be missing. We hope by the beginning of the next financial year we will come up from the old normal and we will be back to the normal seminars. Friends, as you know, I represent Finance Industry Development Council FIDC, which is the apex representative body of all assets and loan financing NBFCs in India. It has 17 directors and 300 members all over India, and it's regional and affiliated associations spread all across. Of course, our main function is to represent the positive issues before the authorities concerning asset and loan financing NBFCs, and we have a continuous dialogue with all regulators. We'll look at it a little later. Friends, what's going to be important discussion today is what has happened in post-corona. So before I go into that, let me just rush through two other aspects. What has been the role of NBFC sector and what happened post-ILFS and pre-corona. Okay, as you all know that NBFC sector has been in financial inclusion since last more than 8 decades. Its growth story, contribution and market share is very well known. In fact, we now contribute more than 20% of the gross domestic capital formation in India, whereas just few years back it was less than 5%. This shows the phenomenal growth and the positive aspects of NBFCs. We have been funding to automobile sector, infra, SMEs, traders, entrepreneurs, consumers and rural sector. The key features for our reasons for our success are the four factors: reliability, affordability, accessibility and flexibility. These are very well known. I did not emphasize on that. We have much lesser NPAs compared to banks. In fact, India's growth in last 1 decade has been led by NBFCs, and there has never been any default since 1997 in the real consumer retail finance NBFC. We're not talking of housing or infrastructure finance company here. And we are fully regulated as much as banks by the Reserve Bank of India. That's much for the NBFC sector. Let's see what happened post ILFS and pre-corona period. In fact, we have always been saying an ILFS is a peculiar infrastructure finance company and not a retail consumer NBFCs into asset and loan financing of the type which we all represent, like Bajaj Finance or the Sundaram Finance or the Magmas and Mahindra and Mahindra. It was lending for 15, 20, 30 years in the infrastructure projects, investing also in them. And what happened there was a real fraud, a private sector company run into public sector manner. Other company which defaulted was a housing finance company, again a different business model, different processes, different system, different asset class. In fact, there are 4 broad categories of NBFCs: asset and loan financing, which we are representing, infrastructure financing companies, housing companies and investment companies. All have different models, different systems, different classes, different perceptions, and no way comparable to each other. But what happens is, if any of the NBFCs defaults or is at fault, media perception changes and they overreact and they color all the NBFCs with one brush. Public perception also changes, and that creates the problem for NBFCs. Exactly that happened post ILFS to entire NBFC sector. We had a liquidity constraints which was created because of the fear psychology by the banks and other funding institutions like mutual funds. There were talked about things about NBFCs then, that there was no LMS, there was an ALM mismatch and NBFCs were grossly undercapitalized. No, there was no LMS mismatch. In fact, 2 or 3 companies which had got recovered within less than 3 months from then. And about capitalization, our average CRAR has been more than 20% on a continuous basis over last 2 decades, whereas what has been prescribed by RBI is just 15%. Okay, let's come to the more interesting discussion about which we want to know post-corona. What happened, how it happened, what we did and what is in store for us. Friends, this came out of the blue for all of us, totally unexpected. Everyone was unprepared for this. It's now staying larger than many of us thought earlier. It created a lot of chaos first and uncertainty now. There was a lockdown which went on for more than 3 months, 4 months, and we had the constraints in office travel, outside work, meeting clients, and remaining contactless was necessary. Work from home became a new normal. For NBFC, impact on the availability of funds and cost of funds and recovery and collections was quite large in the first 3 or 4 months, in fact Q1 of the current financial year. Suddenly banks became risk averse to the NBFC sector for no good reasons, and bank funding to NBFCs was curtailed. Even the limits which were sanctioned earlier were never disbursed. The situation is now improving in Q3, which has just begun, and we hope that the situation will be much more normal in the times to come. Even the mutual fund industry, which was funding NBFCs, had its own liquidity problems, and our bonds, NCDs and CP subscription also got curtailed. What we did at FIDC, representations to RBI, Ministry of Finance, Niti Aayog, SEBI, etc., and online meeting with RBI Governor, Finance Minister, Niti Aayog, bankers, financial institutions, SIAM, and various other authorities and constituents. In fact, we made more than 20 such representations and series of meetings with these authorities. And rather than discussing the problems which we discussed, liquidity, funding, moratorium and restructuring. Now all these problems which we discussed are a very interesting discussion and exciting results. If I want to discuss this, the whole day will go in this. Within 15 minutes of span, I cannot come out to explain you what has been discussed. What I advise you, all these detailed representations, summary of meetings, regulatory notifications, NBFC sector data, newsletters, blogs, press and media reporting and interactions can all be seen on the FIDC website and social media handles, Twitters, LinkedIn and Facebook, www.fidcindia.org. What positive steps were taken by Government of India, Ministry of Finance and Reserve Bank of India? Friends, what came in for NBFCs also created opportunity in crisis. While liquidity position tightened, it had an impact on NBFCs lending, which further had a multiplier effect on funding important sectors like MSMEs, transport, consumer goods and real estate. This resulted in both the Government of India and RBI swiftly swinging into action with a series of measures. A never seen before kind of importance and recognition NBFCs got. I'll explain you in detail. We got moratorium, which was the buzzword in the beginning of the crisis. We got an NPS classification relaxation. Again, I said these are all the detailed discussion which can be done during the day by the other panelists. Funding was liberalized for NBFC sector through the institutions and the banks. We were part of TLTRO 1 and 2 also. One-time restructuring which was announced was also allowed for the NBFCs to its customers. There were 3 schemes which were announced on Atmanirbhar schemes on 20th May. There was an additional funding of NBFCs under ECLGS, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, 100% credit guarantee coverage by NCGTC and Guaranteed Emergency Credit Line, that is GECL facility to eligible MSME borrowers including interested Mudra borrowers. There were 2 new factors. There was a Government of India guarantees. Monies lent by bank to NBFCs were guaranteed by Government of India. Never seen earlier. Great. And there was a special demarcation of funds within the funds allocated for the small NBFCs and medium NBFCs. Again, this classification is never heard before, and this has been our demand earlier, and it's been met partially by the Government of India and Reserve Bank of India. These are all very positive steps, and this eased this liquidity situation of NBFCs to a great extent. There was a KV Kamath committee for one-time restructuring. There were 2 more announcements. Ex gratia payment by Government of India, where interest on interest will be reimbursed by Government of India, and NBFC is also part of it. In fact, today is the last day for crediting that amount. And there was a co-lending scheme which was there prevalent but not getting popularized. It got relaxed and enlarged to a great extent by the Reserve Bank of India. And in fact, the deposit taking NBFCs were also part of it now. Thus far for the steps taken by the Government of India, but things are never enough. What are the issues pending? Friends, many things done may not be good enough. Lot more needs to be done, seeing the peculiarity of the situation. Mind you, for the development of the country and economy and to achieve the financial inclusion and growth targets, funding to NBFCs, including small NBFCs, needs to be made faster, more liberal, and at a reasonable terms and conditions and interest rates. What has been our demand since long is exclusive financial institution for funding to all NBFCs, including small NBFCs. We have handy institutions like SIDBI, NABARD, its subsidiaries NEB Samruddhi and NEB Kisan, and Mudra also, which can be utilized for funding exclusively to NBFCs. A separate fund can be created with the objective classifications and terms and conditions, and that can be very handy for the NBFCs, like NHB was there for the housing finance companies. Encourage priority sector lending through NBFCs, so it's a win-win situation for everybody, the banks, NBFCs, as well as the targeted customers. There is a need to increase NBFC sectoral cap for banks. What happens is, whenever we go to banks, they say they have reached the limit of internal limits prescribed by their board to the NBFC sector. What is required is to carve out public sector NBFCs for this purpose separately, so that the private sector, medium and small NBFCs get the funds deservingly from the banks. There were new circulars which were affecting NBFCs adversely. We requested Reserve Bank of India to exempt all NBFCs from the restrictions on opening of current account with the banks. What was prescribed is that if you have a limit with any particular bank, you can't have the current accounts opened in other banks. What happens typically is an NBFC takes a limit from say public sector bank at the branch, which is the corporate office or registered office, but its business operations are spread all over country with hundreds and thousands of branches and lakhs of customers. We need to service them. For that purpose, we require to open a bank account in that particular district or the area or city or town. The particular bank may not have the branch there, or the services may not be good enough. We require this restriction to be exempt for NBFC, so that we can service those customers very well, and the purpose for which the customers have taken loan, they are serviced, because every transaction has to be moved through bank only. There was an on-tap TLTRO announced, it has reached to the core sector, and somehow NBFCs are not part of it. We requested Reserve Bank of India and government, so the applicable, to apply on-tap TLTRO to NBFCs as well. There was a proposal 6 months back on decriminalization of check bouncing. In fact, criminal cases under Section 138 of Negotiable Instruments Act have become very popular, and it has worked as a deterrent and as typical security for all the lenders. And we have requested the government of India, along with our all institutions also, trade associations also supported us, that decriminalization of check bouncing should continue. In fact, it should be further, see that it's liberalized and the results are faster in this case. There are two more things which I would like to say. LCR guidelines to be at par with the banks, and access to GST data, about which I'll talk in the next line. What's the future business scenario? There are two sides of an NBFC transaction. One is the supply side, other is the demand side. On supply side, funding is the key constraint. We have discussed about funding. The risk averseness of the funding institutions, including bank, has to come down, and NBFCs should get the funding very easily, and that will go to the customers and increase the demand. On demand side, from the figures given by the government, demand has improved, and the festival season, which is coming soon, Q3 will bring a good demand. In fact, it has already reached 70-80% of the targets. Once the demand picks up and NBFCs are pumped with the funds, we will never keep the money with ourselves and pump it in the market, give it to the MSMEs, traders, consumers, and all the sectors, including rural sector. NPA situation has improved. In fact, most of the NBFCs are reported for Q2 that our collections have reached 90 to 95%. In Q3, which is coming, we are likely to reach almost less than 3 or 4% NPAs. Friends, gold loan NBFCs in the whole entire financial sectors are doing very well. In fact, they have shown 15 to 20% growth. In fact, gold loan NBFCs came in very handy for the needy people who required immediate money in the crisis time of lockdown for the health purposes or the food purposes, and gold loans were available within few hours, and we see the growth in gold loan NBFCs to do much better. We have to see that newer opportunities are explored and exploited for the NBFCs, and what is essential is partnering with MSME sector. I'll explain this partnering and collaboration factor a little more in detail. Collaboration is the buzzword among BFSI sector with technology people, with MSME people and other constituents. Within BFSI sector, NBFCs have to see that they collaborate with the banks, financial institutions and mutual funds, and all funders come together and work out on the old maxim principle of wholesale and retail relationship. In a peculiar financial transaction, there are five aspects: sourcing, appraising, funding, servicing and recovery. In fact, each one has to put out its strength and see that we combine this strength and each one does the role, so that the financial inclusion, which is the target, reaching the last mile customers, can become easy. Collaborating with technology, fintech and IT companies is very essential, and more so in the peculiar times of today. Friends, earlier we used to think of a business first and then technology. This will have to change. Now technology first and then see how we can apply it to our business. Apps with distance context for appraisal, disbursement, processes and collections will see the light of the day and grow more and more. Again, as I said, through digitization and combining each other's strength, NBFCs and fintech companies and IT companies can do very well. All the five aspects of business transaction, as I said earlier, sourcing, appraisal, funding, servicing and recovery, can be done in newer ways. How? Friends, NBFC business has been a pretty personal contact oriented. Credit appraisal, collections all depend on meeting and speaking with the customers and working to assess their true business. This has to change. More digital tools to assess customer must be adopted. Plus, discussion with customer can be easily moved to video calls now rather than personal visits as far as practicable. Second is eKYC. This must be made open to all lending and saving institutions. There can be a master register of KYC, that's the current central KYC registry, or CKYC can be suitably strengthened to allow access to KYC documents for all. So a customer only needs to do a KYC once only, and every lender, the mutual fund, insurance company can use that data. This will reduce the need for physical document collection, self-attestation, etc. Third is availability of GST data can be leveraged heavily for MSME lending. No need to collect and analyze the financial statements in the same elaborate detailed manner now. All that is needed is GST data and a bank statement analysis to ascertain strength of an MSME. And lastly, digital collections. eNACH, EMS, UPI, etc. will become very prevalent and acceptable. Need to collect cash in person will also come down. What I said is newer systems of working will be competitive collaboration or collaborating with competitors. Future for NBFCs and the requirements for the NBFC per se or internal, they have to improve their governance standards, system and compliance. There are no shortcuts for the financial prudence. A lot more awareness campaign has to be created, and the people and the public and the media and the authorities have to be made aware of the role and the contribution of NBFC in the capital formation, employment generation, financial inclusion, etc. There is one tool among the financial which has been left out of which is very popular all over the world, is leasing. That needs to be popularized, and the bottlenecks which are there for popularizing and operationalizing leasing, like depreciation, GST and TDS, can be removed. In fact, we are preparing a white paper and giving it to the government of India very soon, how to popularize leasing. Because many of the foreign financial institutions will come in India, they will prefer leasing rather than owning any of the assets. Regular dialogue with all the stakeholders and regulators, which we are doing in any case. It has to be more proactive. What's been lacking for the NBFC sector is the data collection and analysis. FIDC has started with CRIF over the last 2 years, and data collection, analysis and dissemination on the asset side of balance sheet. But liability side is yet to be done, and we are working on it. Within few months we will start at it also. And of course, to improve our HR quality, we require the education and training, the seminars of the types which are attending. And now, because of online, more and more people can participate. In fact, we also have a professional development committee which looks into it and tie up with the various institutions, universities, and management institutions to have the specialized course for NBFCs like banks. Let me conclude. Friends, for NBFCs, it's always that challenges bring opportunities. We have always grown larger after every crisis. Mind you, we are here to stay, not just for short term, medium term, or long time, but for the entire span of mankind. We are locked out, but not knocked down. Friends, remember that we have always been saying in earlier seminars also, tough times do not last, but tough people do, and that we are. What's necessary is empower, enrich, and enable the NBFCs, and the Government of India will meet all its targets of your GDP and the growth. Friends, thank you very much. Stay safe and do take very good care of yourself, your family, and associates, and best wishes for the fruitful and joyful festival season ahead. Thank you once again.